Hi, everybody. It's episode 520 of PodQuest.
Hey.
Wednesday, July 30th, 2024. I'm Chris. With me is Drootin.
Hello.
It's Tuesday.
Oh, it is Tuesday. Tuesday,
It is
July
Tuesday.
30th. I'm usually pretty good about, crossing out the Wednesday and putting Tuesday, and I failed this time. Also, Richie's here.
Yeah, I'm here.
Maybe. Who knows?
50-50.
Yeah. Tuesday. Great. Good times.
Yes.
How you guys doing?
Doing all right.
I'm managing. I turned 36 in 4 days.
Happy almost
Yeah.
birthday.
Yeah. So that's how I'm doing. Not really gonna get to be able to celebrate my birthday like I normally do. Which I can't even really say like I normally do, because it's a tradition I started 3 years ago that I've only been able to do twice, pretty much every other year. Because
So then your
first year-
tradition is every other year.
Yeah, seriously. Because it was the first year I did it, which was to go down to the zoo in Cape May and then to go to Ocean City and walk up and down the boardwalk real quick and then come home. It's kind of a short day. It's not too long of a day. Depending on how long you take at the zoo, you can get there by 10 and be home by 2. It's not that long. And then the year after, Cobb brought me to a concert and I got COVID.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Cobb.
It was a good concert.
It was a good concert, except for the fact that I got COVID. And then
I
the year
didn't.
after, and then the year after, I went to the zoo again with my nieces and my mom and dad. And then this year, I can't really walk, so I'm not gonna go to the fucking zoo. Hey, careful, Chase. Hey, careful. Good boy.
Did he do something weird?
He scratched his head, bad.
Oh,
He took-
has a wound.
He has an open, no fur, open wound, and he scratched it pretty bad a few days ago. Originally there was a spot on his cheek that was like that, and then he also got his head, and so I have to tell him to be careful, because if I don't, he'll keep scratching. I don't know if it was a hot spot or if his nails just long. I don't know what happened. Just one day I saw a little bit of red, a little bit of spottiness there. Then the next day there was on his cheek. And then the next day it was worse on his head. And I'm like, dude, what are you doing?
He doesn't even know.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't know. He just knows that if he scratches and then licks his paw, it tastes like something. He's a fucking idiot. It's like, oh, this tastes like something. I don't know what. This tastes like when I have to rub my butt.
Oh, dogs.
They're dummies.
They're great.
They're dummies.
But they're also great.
Yeah, I guess.
But also dummies.
Yes.
So before we start, I want to talk about Final Fantasy VI for a minute.
Okay.
So, Rich, I talked about this with you a little bit last week. Drew, you weren't here. I got further in Final Fantasy VI than I have ever been before. Have you played 6?
Only maybe an hour.
Okay, that's about how far I've gotten in the past. But a little bit further than that. I don't think I ever played more than maybe 4 or 5 hours at most. I got to the point where the story splits into 3 possible paths you can pick. And you have to do all 3 of them regardless. You just get to pick what order you do the 3 in. And I always fall off, and then I go back, and it's usually on a different platform, and just start over. So I actually started playing it a week and a half ago. And spoilers for Final Fantasy VI from 1994, 5, 6, something like that. I just yesterday I got through the World of Ruin, which is when the world ends, essentially. Do you guys kind of know the gist of 6 at all?
No.
Honestly, no, not really.
Okay, so it's not just me then. So somehow this is I've heard people talk about this, and I knew that at some point the villain won in the middle of the game. And the world quote unquote ends. But I never really knew what the context was. I kind of just assumed that the bad guy won and the world just, it became like a awful dictatorship, especially based on how the beginning of the game goes, where there's an evil empire trying to take over everything. Basically, I expected Star Wars. That's kind of what I expected.
Okay.
But no, the world legitimately fucking gets destroyed. The continents are ripped apart. Most of the civilization has been wiped out. And the game just jumps ahead a year. So like all that happens, your characters literally fall from the sky, and then it just goes 1 year later, like fucking Avengers Endgame. And it is just wild that a game that old and that kind of well loved by people, I just managed to avoid that particular fact for this long. Because people gush about Final Fantasy VI all the time. Like if you read like best RPGs of all time lists anywhere on the internet, it's always Final Fantasy VI, and it's always because of like the twist in the middle.
Well, now that you mention it, I have heard in the past that like the villain wins. I didn't assume like a year later, but that's what I always assumed when I heard that though, was like the villain wins, the world goes to shit. Like so, that's kind of what I always assumed when I heard the villain wins. Yeah,
like the world goes to shit in a way where the villain wins and is like ruling everything. And I get the impression maybe that is happening. But I didn't expect the world to actually basically end and be destroyed. Like civilization can't really survive on this planet. Like there's the area where you basically wake up in. If you leave and go into the world map, you're just on this tiny little island. And anytime you run into an enemy, it just dies on its own because the world is so fucked. Like I've never actually gotten to attack it because as soon as combat starts, they just die.
Okay.
So like, yeah, like shit's in a bad way. All the places you knew from before are generally not in the same place anymore because of the way like continents were like torn asunder, and literally a thing that was on the bottom of the ocean is now just in the middle of the continent. Like it goes across one of the continents. And a lot of the villages that I found so far are like actually ruined. Like there's no one left in them, or if there are, they're like living in like shelters in basements and stuff like that. One of the villages you get to, it's just a bunch of children because all of their parents died trying to protect them. So like it's not just like that weird like Children of the Flies thing. It's actually kind of depressing. There's just a bunch of orphans because their parents died trying to save them.
Yeah.
And yeah, just not what I expected at all. Like because I'd always heard that like Kefka wins. I just assumed it was going to be more of a Kefka takes over the world and everything's just kind of shitty because he's a fucking sociopath. And then you have to like battle back and beat him and free everybody. But like, I can't imagine that this game ends with things going back to normal. Like the world is irreparably damaged at this point.
Oh, I'm sure they find a way.
I don't know, man. Like, there's magic and stuff, but it's not, like, abundant. So I have a feeling, like, the world might stay like this at the end, but they just kind of rebuild what they can. Because so far I found one city that seems to be pretty much the same as it was before. Like, none of the buildings are on fire. Like, they're not all, like most of the city, the handful of cities I've been to so far had like buildings were all like damaged with holes in the roofs. I got to one of them and they're like, okay, you guys are actually apparently still doing okay, for some reason. But yeah, just crazy that is the way that whole thing went. That's all. Yeah, I haven't played enough to have like more opinions on the story, but like just not what I expected. And I'm in the I have to go get the band back together phase of the game.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I don't know how long that's going to take because there's a lot of characters and this world map is pretty fucking spaced apart now that everything got destroyed. So, we'll see. But, yeah. Anyway, agenda. Rich, what's on it?
So there's some stuff about the MCU that was released at San Diego Comic-Con this weekend that we may have opinions about. I'm a little exasperated about it. At least one of them. We all watched Toxic Avenger. I watched Deadpool 2. Drew played some college football 2025, and then I also played Star Ocean Second Story R, which is the remake of Star Ocean Second Story, and I played Nintendo World Championship NES Edition that I bought just for the collectibles, and that's it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so San Diego Comic-Con happened. And I feel like this is the first year in a while where it was kind of what it was before.
Yeah, probably. We haven't had a lot of big news, but like if you think about it, last year was a writer strike and an actor strike, so they couldn't really do anything last year. Then the year before, 2-3 years before that was COVID stuff still
Yeah.
going on.
Oh yeah,
So,
there's
like,
reasons why.
Yeah.
But even then, like I feel like this is the first year where like I feel like Marvel in particular has had shit to really talk about. Since Endgame and the last Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I guess just up front that the big thing they announced, the Russo brothers are coming back to do the next two Avengers movies.
Which I'm pretty sure that was known before San Diego.
So
I'm pretty sure that was like rumored or announced or something. At least rumored.
It's been rumored, but it hadn't been announced officially.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then they confirmed that they are no longer doing the Kang Dynasty. So the next Avengers movie is not Avengers: The Kang Dynasty. It is Avengers: Doomsday, and Doctor Doom is going to be the villain.
I wonder, before we talk about Doctor Doom and Doomsday, I wonder what they're going to do, if they're going to do anything to write off Kang. Because they ended movies like the stinger for movies was Kang.
Which movies was that? Legitimate question.
Ant-Man.
Was it just Ant-Man?
And pretty much Loki. All of Loki had Kang in it.
Yeah. So
had a version of Kang.
Yeah.
Or at least Loki season 2, not all of Loki season 2.
That makes sense then. So we actually just started watching Loki last night, so I only watched the first 2 episodes. But yes, like Kang is all over the goddamn place in there.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. There was no Kang in the Marvels. When was Kang introduced? Kang was introduced in
Loki season 1.
In Loki, was he in? Yeah, he was Loki season 1, and then it was primarily.
He was big in Ant-Man.
Was
Ant-Man
he in
3.
Multiverse?
No, that's why. So the only the only movies I haven't seen yet would be the Marvels and Guardians 3. So I didn't know if he had been in either of those.
I don't quite remember Guardians 3. I don't quite remember if he was in Guardians 3. I don't think he was. No, the stinger of Guardians 3 at the end of Guardians 3 was just Star-Lord will return. Okay. Or the Amazing Star-Lord will return, basically. Kind of like it was him on Earth.
Okay, so
yeah, so it was it, but the lead the stinger for Ant-Man and for Quantumania, right? That's what this one was.
Yeah,
yeah. Was all the multiversal Kangs all together, like getting ready to do something. Like it was a big deal, and Kang was a big deal. Like it was the main villain in Quantumania. So because they built him up across the board as a big villain, I wonder what they're going to do to write him off.
I mean, they might just not mention him again, because then they have to mention Jonathan Majors, and they're not going to want to do that.
Hey, I don't think they should do that. I don't think they should just literally write him out. I think they need to make some sort of mention of him, because he's in canon material. Like he's a major part of canon material, and we know he's not dead.
So, I mean, they could easily just sideline him for the phase and then make him the next Avengers villain with a different actor.
Yeah, I mean, they could easily recast him.
But, like, I don't think you're going to hear about Kang leading up to the next 2 Avengers movies.
No, I'm not saying, like, they need to do it right away. I'm just curious. Like, I would be let down if they don't retouch on him at some point.
There aren't, depending on, they don't seem to necessarily be slowing down with this stuff. In like a way where it's going to just stop anytime soon. And frankly, like there aren't that many like big need all the heroes to show up villains out there. Like we've already done Ultron, we've already done Loki, Thanos. I feel like I'm forgetting somebody from like a team up movie, but maybe not.
No, there isn't. That was it. There hasn't been any other team up movies.
Oh yeah, I guess because Thanos was the 3rd and 4th Avengers, right?
Yeah, they haven't had a team up movie since Endgame.
Yeah, but so there just aren't that many like Avenger threats that they would need to pull in a bunch of other ones for, which is what they've started doing. So Kang and Doctor Doom are kind of like the next 2 like notable ones. They're gonna have to go deep, and people are gonna be like, "Who the fuck is that?" But yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what they do if they do get back to Kang, or even if they just do more of like Loki. Like I don't know how Loki season 2 ends, since we only watched the first 2 episodes, but like the whole Kang thing is super everywhere in those first 2 episodes. So I can only imagine that it kind of holds through for most, if not all, of the season.
For most of it.
And you figure like that show was done before everything with the actor happened, so they weren't planning to have to like cancel or recast or any of that stuff at the time.
Yeah.
But like luckily Kang is one of those characters where he does wear like the weird like mask suit thing. And because he's a time traveler and all this weird shit, he has looked different over the ages, because you have the teen version of him, which was a young Avenger. You have the like young adult version of him that was like a weird pharaoh in Egypt. You have kind of the villain version of him that is like the guy that like you think of when you think of Kang. You have the old man version of Mortis, who is more like I can't think of the word, neutral.
The unfortunate thing, which I think that's what Kang from the end of Loki season 1 was supposed to be, basically, was a Mortis, just neutral.
Yeah, exactly.
But the problem with what they did with Kang and what they've kind of done with their multiverse is like some characters change their look, others don't, or look different, others don't. Kang, every version of Kang looks like Jonathan Majors that we have seen. And like I said, at the end of Quantum Mania, you see a lot of fucking Kangs. And then like Doctor Strange, every version of Doctor Strange looks like Benedict Cumberbatch. But then you have Spider-Man. There's 3 different Peter Parkers. So it's like they're doing something weird when it comes to their multiverse shit, where it's like some people look the same, some people don't.
But also like you can, to us they look different, but you could also make the argument that like, oh no, they probably like internally they look the same, but like there's 20-year age gaps between each of them.
Yeah, you could maybe make that argument, maybe.
But no, I mean, like you're not wrong. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do with the whole Kang thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so to get back to the actual news, Avengers 5, right? Avengers 5 is going to be Doomsday, Doctor Doom, who they announced is going to be played by Robert Downey Jr.
You know, it's so great to see him coming up in the world.
Right?
I am mad at this. There's nobody else you could have casted. Now, look, I'm sure they have a plan. I'm sure they have something decided and written down as to why Robert Downey Jr., why Doctor Doom, why Victor Von Doom, if he even is Victor Von Doom.
No, he's going to be
like
the Tony Stark version of Doctor Doom.
But, like, so obviously they're leaning more in multiverse. And he's going to be Doctor Doom from an alternate universe coming into our universe. So they're Kanging him. They're just going to do what they were going to do with Kang. With him.
You have to keep in mind. So this phase is still called the Multiverse Saga, the way the first one was the Infinity Saga.
Yeah,
they are not going to lean away from the multiverse. Also, Doctor Doom being a Fantastic Four like staple, it makes sense because we know that, or presumably, the Fantastic Four movie is not in the main Marvel universe. So we know it's happening in the 60s, but they also confirmed that the Fantastic Four will be part of Doomsday. But there are storylines where Tony Stark is Doctor Doom, like in all like alternate timelines, what if stories. A lot of people think they're fucking clever and they keep calling out Infamous Iron Man. That's not what that fucking book was. That was Tony Stark was dead and fucking Doctor Doom tried to be a good guy and was Iron Man for a little while. Like different fucking story.
Yeah.
The thing that they're probably thinking of is when they had I forget the name of the actual event, but there was an event where everybody got flipped. So like if people were in the radius of a thing happening, if they were bad guys, they became good guys. If they were good guys, they became bad guys. And Iron Man was one of the people that became a bad guy. And he was real shitty for like a year. But I don't know. This doesn't bother me.
I don't like it. I don't like it.
I don't think it's going to be long term for one.
No, it's going to be 1 or 2 movies tops or something like that. Like he's going to just be on Doomsday. He's maybe even just a freaking, even though they made a big deal about it, he's going to be a cameo or some shit like that. Not even a full-on thing.
I think he's going to show up in Fantastic Four as like an end credit cameo, because Doctor Doom is not going to be the first villain the Fantastic Four fight. There's no way. And then he will be in Doomsday, but that whatever happens, that will end with him no longer there, and it will somehow lead into the Secret Wars movie.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe we get a Victor Von Doom out of the Secret Wars movie, because the 2015 Secret Wars comic was all kind of perpetrated by Doom. Like, that thing happened and Doom became like the God Emperor of the universe.
Yeah.
And I can't see them paying Robert Downey Jr. enough for both of those movies. But then again, you know what, the Marvel movies have not been doing as well as they were before. So like, maybe they think like, hey, this will get people back. They keep saying they wanted them back.
Yeah. I don't know. They could have done something else. They still could have kept it with multiverse and had somebody else do Doctor Doom.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. They should have gotten the guy from fucking the 2006. The guy that was in Charmed. I don't know what his name is.
I don't either.
He was Cole in Charmed. Sometimes he was a bad guy. Sometimes he was a good guy. Sometimes you thought he was a good guy, but he was really a bad guy. Most of the time, he was a bad guy, I guess, is what I'm saying. But yeah, that guy. Bring him back. Make him Doctor Doom again.
Julian McMahon.
Yeah, that guy.
You know what? Just get Sue Storm, Jessica Alba to be Doctor Doom.
She doesn't act anymore. She does her like healthcare stuff.
Does she do healthcare stuff?
Yeah, she has some like line of like healthcare products.
Oh.
But yeah, so the only other thing out of here, other than like the Fantastic Four, it's called First Steps, and it's set in the 60s. Did either of you see the clip of Harrison Ford on stage?
No.
Nope.
So they introduced when they're doing like the Captain America segment. Anthony Mackie introduces Harrison Ford, who comes out, and like Harrison Ford has that like reputation for being kind of grumpy when it comes to like press related stuff. Like, he's just not a dude that wants to talk about anything with the press.
Yeah.
But he comes out and like seems happy to see like the people on stage. And at one point, like, he mimics turning into the Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he kind of like does like the bodybuilder pose and like screams and then like leans back like he was transforming. I'm like, look at that. Harrison Ford's like getting paid enough money to actually like pretend like he wants to be there.
He's actually pretending to care. That, or he just liked being Red Hulk.
Yeah, I mean, like, there were a couple quotes floating around that like he's like it's just been fun. Like, he's just having fun with like kind of the silly role.
Yeah.
I did see like one interview clip. I think it was probably with IGN, where you could see like he did not want to fucking be stuck in front of the microphone. Like, before the questions even all the way out, like he's doing like one of those like touching his forehead and then like looking around like if he has like a way out. But then the person asked like how he felt about like seeing the footage the first time of like the Red Hulk, and his response was like, I didn't know I was going to be red.
Mm-hmm.
Red's not my color.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, at least like when he is answering the questions, he seems to be like not being like a gruff, like, I don't care. Because like he's definitely done that in interviews before. He's like, I don't fucking care who shot first. Like,
Yeah.
And like, why would he? Like, it's a fucking movie role. But yeah, I just thought it was funny. Like, you don't often see Harrison Ford like entertaining like bullshit like that on live in person.
And on my note of talking about how they're doing weird multiverse things, or some characters are the same, some characters aren't. Like, I don't know if you've seen the trailers for Captain America: New World Order or whatever it is. But one of the lines in the movie is from Falcon, Captain America, to Harrison Ford, to Ross, and all it is you shaved your mustache. That's why you look different.
I'll take it.
That's really it. That's how they get away with, because the guy, if you don't remember Drew or anybody else, the guy who played Ross passed away.
Yeah, Jonathan Hurt, right?
Yeah, so they recast him.
William Hurt.
William Hurt, yeah.
John Hurt is somebody else. That was the War Doctor.
Yeah. So they recasted him as Harrison Ford because you
need grumpy old man.
Yeah, you need grumpy old man. So yeah, that's I like that. They're just like, oh yeah, you shaved your mustache. You look different now.
I'll take it. But yeah, I mostly wanted to talk about the Avengers Doctor Doom stuff because I thought that was kind of unexpected.
It was incredibly unexpected.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I had I felt maybe they were just going to recast Kang. I thought that would have been a good idea. They could just keep going with Kang and recast Kang, but we'll see. Maybe they still will, but maybe they're just, like you said, they're going to do Doomsday right now to try to build in for Secret Wars and then go from there.
Yeah, and like I'm not like I want to go see it when it comes out sort of interested, but I am at least slightly more interested in this just to see like what the fuck they do with it.
Mm-hmm.
Because like you also like Robert Downey Jr. He has cultivated that like Tony Stark persona for so long that even in other stuff like you kind of still see that character. So I'm just curious to see like what's he going to be like as a villain, especially like a villain like Doctor Doom, because like Tony Stark and Doom are both egotistical, but they're egotistical in very different ways.
Mm-hmm.
And like I honestly don't remember what the Tony Stark Doctor Doom was like, because I think it was just like a what if or something like that they did that in. I don't know that it was anything like substantial, but I'm curious at least. Like they have me curious. I will give them that.
Like I'm not gonna boycott the movie or anything. I don't like the casting.
So you've heard it here, everybody. Richie boycotting the rest of the MCU.
No, I'm not a fan of the casting. I wish they just.
Also, he hates Robert Downey Jr.
No, I love
boycotting the MCU and hates Robert Downey Jr.
I love Robert Downey Jr. I just put new face. Give me a new face. Give me a new face. Give me a new face of the fucking MCU. Like
keep doing that, and those movies keep fucking flopping. So they're going back to what made them billions of dollars.
I don't think any of them were flops, though. They flopped because no one's going to the movies anymore.
That's what a flop is.
But no, it's not a flop because it's a bad movie. It's a flop because no one's going.
No, exactly. But like, they don't care.
I know.
They don't care that it's not because of that. It's a flop is a flop. They're losing money on them.
I don't think Robert Downey Jr. is going to get more people to go to the movies.
And you know what? If he does, though, they're just going to keep. They're going to hand fucking Chris Evans a $300 million fucking paycheck to show back up as fucking Johnny Storm or something.
and here's the thing, though. Like Deadpool and Wolverine broke box office records this year or this week. Yeah. I don't know what kind. I just know I just been seeing broke records.
It is actually one of the higher grossing movies I've seen since like COVID. Like it made hundreds of millions of dollars this weekend.
Yeah. So like big titles and favorite characters are maybe bringing people out. But also this was the first movie in like a year. Not actual movie, but this is the first superhero movie in a long time.
Yeah. But like you figure like Fast and Furious movies for a long time were bringing in those dollars. I don't think 10 did though. Mm-hmm. The last 3 or 4 MCU movies didn't really bring in all that much money. Like I think Captain Marvel The Marvels was the lowest grossing one ever. And that's just because people suck and refuse to see it on like some stupid fucking principle.
There's a hatred for Brie Larson that I don't understand why. Because she's too woke or something. I don't know.
Yeah, but like, yeah, people skip that one because they're fucking stupid. It had nothing to do with whether the movie was good or bad. But also like that was the tail end of them just releasing too many fucking movies. Because like last year we had 3 MCU movies spread out across the year. And like Quantum Mania was meh. Apparently Guardians 3 was actually really good. That's what everyone keeps saying.
Guardians 3 was great, and I thought Quantum Mania was really good too. Like it's different. That's the thing. It's different than what they've done before.
I don't know. I thought Quantum Mania was the worst of the 3 Ant-Man movies by far. Which is a shame because like those first 2 are a lot of fun. Like Paul Rudd, tons of fun as Ant-Man.
Yeah.
But a bunch of other stuff to talk about. Let's move along to the Toxic Avenger.
Yes.
Do we have to?
Drew hated it.
I
so much.
Yeah, I'm sure you did.
It's fucking the worst movie I've ever watched. Period.
You fucking watched The Room last week.
This movie's fucking so much worse.
No.
Yes, it is.
Far no.
Oh, the fucking
I laughed at this movie.
It was racist. It was just gross. It was wildly inconsistent of like what the Toxic Avenger's powers were. Like it had literally no redeeming qualities. The best word for it is gratuitous in every sense of the word. It's gore and sex jokes. That's all it is. It sucked. It's fucking terrible.
And The Room is nothing but sex for the first 40 minutes of a fucking movie.
Listen, The Room also fucking sucks, but this movie was also basically nothing but sex for the first 20 minutes. It was sex and fucking racist slurs.
Look,
it was terrible.
I'm going to acknowledge, yes, it's definitely a major product of its time. I'm not going to say it was a good movie. I'm not going to say it was a great movie or anything like that. But it was better than The Room, and it was actually entertaining.
I mean, again, I disagree on every point. Like,
I had more fun with it than The Room.
Also, fucking sucks. The Room is way more fun to me.
How though? How is The Room more fun than you? Like this, there was actually silly stuff that happened. It made me laugh. It knew what it was, which was stupid, and so that's where it overindulged in itself to make fun of itself. Like this movie, yes, there was racist comments. There was prejudice comments.
Unnecessary Nazi.
There was not. Yeah, like look, yes, they were in there. Did I laugh at the unnecessary Nazi? No, I thought that was a dumb point. You didn't really need it, but like there were other things that happened that were just so over the top ridiculous that I was just like, "What the fuck is going on?" And I was laughing at it. I was being entertained. I was enjoying it.
None of the over the top did anything for me. It's all like bullshit shock shit that just does nothing for me.
It's almost like people have different opinions on movies.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Like you could have taken the racial slurs out of it. You could have taken the 12-year-old whore out of it. Like you could have taken the Nazi out of it. Like none of those things needed to be in there, and it changed the movie in no way.
Review this movie as if you were watching it in the 80s. No,
because it's fucking 2024, and I'm watching it now.
Okay, then review the fucking Room as if you're watching it in 2024.
The Room sucks, and I laughed at it. It sucks.
And you didn't laugh at this because some of the stuff that happened was actually pretty entertaining?
No, I found basically nothing in this movie entertaining.
That's just bonkers to me. Bonkers.
It's honestly bonkers to me that anyone at any point in time could find this entertaining without being on an equal amount of drugs as the people who produced it were on. Like, it's just bad. I don't like movies that are bad for the sake of being bad. 99 times out of 100, it just goes too far and it thinks it's doing the bad thing in a way that's supposed to be funny, but it just misses the point. Like, that's the thing about The Room, is it's bad, but the people making the movie weren't intending it to be bad. Whereas, shit like this and, like, Velocipaster and, like, the Sharknadoes and shit of the sci-fi movies of the world, it's like, once it clearly hits the point of intentionally being bad, it stops being entertaining.
I disagree. I think when a movie knows what it is and leans on that, it actually makes it more entertaining, because then that, like, this wasn't meant to be serious. This wasn't meant to be taken serious. The Room is meant to be taken serious. And that's my biggest problem with it. It's a serious movie that is hot fucking garbage and should not see the light of day. Whereas this is a movie that's just a fucking joke. The entire movie is a joke.
I mean, you're right. This entire movie is a joke.
And so it's like you go into it going to watch a movie that's just meant to be pure entertainment and pure silly and pure ridiculous. Like, it made me think I was watching an old cartoon. That's how I felt when I was watching this movie. As I was just watching old school cartoons.
I mean, they did make this into a cartoon later on.
They did make it into a cartoon.
There's a whole team of Toxic Avengers.
Yeah. The gore. I don't think the gore was over the top. I think it was again, it's meant to be silly. The part I hated the most was the dog. That was it. Obviously, even then, when they showed the dog and the dog was still breathing, I was like, "Oh, puppy!" But like, still, like, yeah, they didn't.
He wasn't breathing real good though.
No, he was breathing. He was breathing like he was actually breathing like a normal dog would just be breathing, laying on the side.
No, but his entire insides were.
No, yeah, the dog in the movie wasn't breathing well, but the dog itself was acting like a dog, which was adorable.
Yeah.
But yeah, some of the topics, take out the 12-year-old prostitute scene, but you know what? Also, it's not like the dude fucked the 12-year-old. He killed the man who was trying to sell a child prostitute. Like,
that's the thing. All of the people that were really like just doing awful stuff all got murdered.
Yeah,
it's almost one of those like they were making people the worst they could be.
Yeah.
So that there was less sympathy for when they did get just destroyed. Like the people that turned him into the Toxic Avenger. Like they went out of your way to show that they literally have a game where they get drunk and then run down children and shit like that in the streets for points.
And take pictures of them. Like, the bad people were bad, was the point of all of those scenes. All of the scenes, all of the racist jokes you didn't like, all of the scenes that you didn't like, were stretching the point of the bad people were bad. And the Toxic Avenger was doing good. Do they necessarily need some of this stuff? In 2024, no. Back in 1980, not really. But it was that time. Like, it was, I'm not trying to give it a straight up pass, but it was like, it's a product of its time. Like,
It's also important to know, and Rich, I don't know if you know this, the company that made this, Troma, this is their shtick. Like, Troma made bad, basically exploitation films. Like, they're there to be gruesome and over the top and bad. It's like it is their thing. Like, they have a cult following because of this. So like, you kind of have to go in there expecting like this movie's not going to be good, and like look for what could possibly be the good in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I it was fine. Like, I didn't hate it the way. Like, there were definitely things I laughed at. I understand, Drew, all of your complaints for it. And you not enjoying movies generally, like, I can see all that stuff grating on you so much more.
I legit almost turned it off after 10 minutes. Like, whenever the car scene of them going, oh, it's extra points for all the racial slurs, I'm like, okay, it's going to be that much worse than I expected this to be.
But yeah, no,
it was like, ready to turn it off.
That was the only time they used racial slurs in the movie.
It turned out to be the only time they did, but it honestly,
in the first 20 minutes, like, you don't know that's going to be the only time.
They then use a lot of other slurs, like, but it's a fucking god awful movie.
You're not wrong. It is an awful movie. It is a bad movie, and that's what cult movies tend to kind of be. Are relatively bad movies, or I wouldn't even say relatively, but what's the term?
It depends on the movies.
Debatably bad movies.
Yeah, like, there are movies like this that are like, they're actually bad. This and The Room, like, they're not good movies. Like, the acting is bad, the scripts are generally bad, the production values are bad. There are also those movies that get that cult status that, like, frankly, like, a lot of Kevin Smith's early stuff, like Clerks, Mallrats, Chasing Amy to an extent, like, they're more cult movies just because they didn't hit it big when they released and they found a following on, like, home video after the fact.
Yeah.
And there's definitely arguments to be made that, like, those movies are bad for different reasons, but they're not like, oh, this acting is straight up fucking horrendous the way that, like, frankly, the Toxic Avenger and the acting were.
Yeah.
Like, so, like, you have different types of cult movies, but like, both of those are definitely considered cult movies just for different reasons. The same way, like, Rocky Horror Picture Show, definitely like a cult movie, but for a totally different reason than anything I've said before.
Yeah. And like, for instance, with Rocky Horror Picture Show, we're not if we were to watch that for this, we're not going to get the same effect as if we were watching it back when it had its cult status, because that's when people would do the whole big shows and plays in the theaters. Like, that's where it got its cult status, and not just, people at home watching it on their own.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it was quite the movie. Now, Rich, are you going to go watch the rest of the series?
No.
There's like 5 more Toxic Avengers.
I know. And like, the whole time I'm watching the movie, I'm like, I really want to see the 2023 version, like, that they're not releasing anymore, even though I'm pretty sure it was at friggin'
Yeah, it was at a film festival.
It was at film festivals, but they're not doing a wide release for it anymore. Like, I want to know what they did, because this is not what they did. There's no way they could release this movie now. No way in hell they could do that. Like, nuh-uh. I really want to see the 2023 Toxic Avenger. I want to find a way to watch it. Like, that would be the only movie that I would really want to see in this line of movies, is that one. Because also Peter Dinklage. But, like, I have zero interest in watching the rest of these. I'm never going to watch them all. If it weren't for this category, I never would have watched this movie. Because even when, like I said, I first saw it on G4, and I saw, like, scenes of it, and I was like, this is dumb, I don't care, and I just left. I left it. I changed the channel. Like, I would never have watched this movie outside of this category right here, unless I had somebody come to me and say, hey, you ever watch Toxic Avenger? It's a great movie, we should watch it. And then I would yell at them for calling it a great movie, but also at the same time laugh at it, because, like, well, this movie was ridiculous. It's definitely not a great movie, but it's ridiculous, and I got entertained by it quite a bit.
Yeah, exactly. So for our next one, I had an idea for a theme. I mentioned it to Drew yesterday, and he was not opposed to it. But I said I was going to save it to ask you while we're recording, just so this way, if you hate it, it's fucking on the record that you're being.
Oh, great! Remember, guys, I did say that I wanted to do sports movies as a category at one point. So.
Oh yeah, that's true. So we can do that first.
I want to hear yours, and then we can vote.
I legitimately really like this idea. It's having to find things in it that I wouldn't have seen is going to be the hard part, but it's a fun idea.
So, and you also have to go into this with the willingness to, like, maybe fuck up, like, a potential other movie for you. But the idea is sequels to movies we have not seen the previous one of. So,
I had a similar thing to that, because I wanted to do. I think it was literally movies you've seen that you never saw the original of, because I wanted to do Gremlins 2. I wanted to do Short Circuit 2. I've never seen Short Circuit 1. Prior to this year, I never saw Gremlins 1. I had something similar to this.
Okay.
Well, see, I think when you that does sound familiar. I think when you had said it before, I thought you were talking about, like, remakes of things that you never saw the original of.
No,
Okay.
like sequels. But
Okay.
like I'm gonna have to think about, like, movies I've never seen the original of that I can see the sequel of. I like the idea. I like it. These are all going to be 80s and 90s movies for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I've already gone through and actually found a bunch of them that, like, I would potentially pick. So the newest one I found is Hellboy 2: The Golden Army. I've only seen bits and pieces of either of the Ron Perlman Hellboys, and I have no idea what happens in either of them.
You've never seen Hellboy 1?
No.
Neither have I.
Wild.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I managed to not see that, but yeah, never seen Hellboy 1. And definitely never saw the sequel. So there's that. I also have things like Jaws 2, because I've never seen Jaws 1. Or
how have you not seen Jaws 1?
Or if everyone has seen Jaws 1 but not 2, we watch Jaws 3.
I mean, I've never seen 2. I've seen Jaws 1. I've never seen 2.
Then we skip 2 and we watch 3.
I'm pretty sure I've seen Jaws 1.
Yeah, there's a bunch of, like, movies. Like, also I have Predator 2, because I've never seen Predator.
I've seen. It's been a long time since I've watched Predator, but I mean, this would be your choice. It wouldn't be my choice. So
exactly.
If that's your choice, then it's fine. But, like, I've also have seen Predator 2, or at least bits and pieces of it. I think I've seen the end when I was a kid.
And then the last two I have, which actually one of these is actually much newer, and I forgot that I had it on here. Creed 3, because I've never seen Creed 2.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last one is Star Trek 3, because Star Trek 4, because I've never seen 3
from, like, the original old series.
Yeah, so I've seen enough of Star Trek 2 that I feel like I know what that movie is.
Well, yeah, and if you saw Star Trek 2 the remake,
Into Darkness. Yeah,
Into Darkness, you
it's mostly the
basically
same.
seen Star Trek 2,
Yeah.
except reverse the roles of who dies.
Exactly. So I've seen enough of Wrath of Khan that like I would count that as I've seen it, but I've never watched The Search for Spock. So I think 4 is The Voyage Home.
So how about this? Godfather 2.
You know what? I've never seen The Godfather.
That actually would be interesting.
I've never seen The
never
Godfather.
Yeah.
Let me see if
I don't
Godfather
really
Part 2. It is on Paramount.
Okay.
So it is available for a free trial if one of us wants to do The Godfather Part 2. I think I might go with Jaws 3 since you guys have both seen the first one. Let me double check that that's available somewhere though. Oh wait, it's not called Jaws 3. It's called Jaws the Revenge, right? Yeah.
Jaws 3D.
Rob, you could pick Lord of the Rings: Return of the King.
I've seen all 3 of them.
Oh,
As have I.
I fucking hate them, but I've seen them. I've also seen the 7 Hobbit movies. Or 2. I forget how many movies that actually
3?
was. I've fallen asleep through all of them, so I don't know.
It was definitely more than 1.
Jaws 2. Oh, Jaws 3D is the third one. Okay.
Oh, wow, it really was?
Yeah, I thought that... Honestly, I thought that was like a joke, but like I don't know that it's available anywhere. Let's see, Jaws 3D. Oh, no, Peacock.
Okay.
Nice. Yeah, so let's watch Jaws 3D for next time.
Okay.
And then afterwards, I'll go back and watch Jaws 1.
I'm not 100% that I've seen Jaws 1, but I feel like even if I haven't, I know enough of what happens in Jaws 1 just through like cultural osmosis. Like I've seen the main clips of things in so many other things that I can't remember if I've seen it or just have seen all those clips.
Right. Yeah, like I know the "we need a bigger boat"
Right.
line. But yeah, like I've never, and I don't know that I've ever actually seen clips of the movie beyond the "we need a bigger boat" and maybe like one other scene like on the beach. But yeah, I do feel like I know a lot of that movie just from like osmosis and it being like parodied places.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Jaws 2, fucking know nothing about. Jaws 3, know even less about.
Jaws 3D. But yeah, so in 2 weeks we're gonna watch Jaws 3D. It's on Peacock. And then we'll go from there. And then
American Pie 2, guys. We're gonna watch American Pie 2.
I've seen the first one.
So,
I haven't though.
Oh, that's
my
fair.
choice. My choice of a movie. I've never seen the original.
You should just jump right to American Reunion or Wedding. I forget which one came first, the Wedding or the Reunion. I think it was Wedding then Reunion. They made a lot of those like with the core cast. Not counting all of the fucking spin-off ones where the only returning character was Jim's dad.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh, man, that movie probably aged fucking like spoiled milk. Anyway, Rich, how was Deadpool 2?
Oh, Deadpool 2. I don't think it was as good as Logan and Deadpool.
That seems to be the general consensus when I was seeing all these like X-Men movie tier lists recently.
Yeah. Like I think it was fine. It was a fine movie. I was kind of bored and I fell asleep during a few points of it. That I ended up having to rewind, and then at one point, like I did start to like fall asleep during the final fucking battle, and I just like I was up and down like it was like a minute or two of unconsciousness every once in a while, and like I would fall asleep and then wake up and fall asleep and then wake up, and at one point I was just like I'm not going to rewatch this. I was kind of bored. Like it was funny, it was silly, but like it kind of lost its gusto from the first Deadpool movie. Of the shock value of being Deadpool. Like, the first one kind of gives you that shock value of, oh my god, this is crazy and this is wild. And like, where, like, I was even praising Deadpool 1 and Logan, where I'm like, these movies are wild and they are, like, over the top and they're ridiculous and, like, they are, like, gory and they're rated R and more superhero movies need to be rated R. But now this is the third of 4 superhero movies that's rated R in the last 4 weeks. And, it kind of, like, lost something to it.
I didn't think about that. Yeah, you are kind of, like, on that streak of them being, like, the edgier fucking movies.
And so, like, I don't know. It's just, like, comparing it to the previous 2 rated R movies, it wasn't as good. I thought it was still silly, but, like, I think they tried to stretch it too much. They tried to do a little too much. And they tried to make friggin' the fat kid too prominent and too important.
Yeah, I didn't like
to the
that whole
story.
storyline either.
I hated him. Like, I didn't hate the story of like him being like the main villain that kills. Like, I like that story and the whole idea of basically kill Hitler when he's a baby. But like, I didn't like the kid. I thought the kid, and I don't know if he's just a bad actor or if he's just the character itself just sucks. And I wanted to strangle him every time he spoke. And it's not just because he's from New Zealand.
Yeah, I did not like that storyline very much.
Yeah, and it was just like the X-Force storyline was cool, but like it was real quick, and I liked the cameos with the X-Force. But overall, like the movie, just like it lost something. It lost something. It definitely isn't the worst of the movies, of the X-Men movies in general. But like of the 3 rated R movies, it is the lowest tier. It was fine. Like that's it. I was a little bored, and it like I don't know. It lost something, and I don't know what it was that it lost. It just lost something.
Yeah, so I keep seeing because Deadpool and Wolverine is out, I keep seeing like posts for like ranking like the specifically the X-Men movies.
Mm-hmm.
And Deadpool 2 is like a dip because they're usually chronological, and it's like the first dip after like a handful of like relatively well received ones. Like Apocalypse dipped down, and then Deadpool I think was after Apocalypse, right?
And it was Deadpool, then Apocalypse, then Logan, then Deadpool 2.
So yeah, so you had like Apocalypse dipped a little bit, but then it came back up for Logan, then dipped back down for Deadpool 2, and kind of like stayed down after that.
Yeah. I can see that. I can feel that. It's hard to say. It's hard to say what it lost, but it wasn't as good as the first one. It was still good.
It lost some of the heart.
Yeah.
As weird as that is to say, like the first one definitely had like something going for it.
Because the first one was a passion project from Ryan Reynolds. Like he quote somebody, Ryan Reynolds, leaked the test footage online and got basically because of that and how much people loved it, got the movie greenlit. But
yeah, exactly.
Like so it was like it was a passion project. It was something he always wanted to do, especially after Wolverine Origins. He wanted to actually show what Deadpool could be. And then like I think maybe it wasn't as much heartfelt. It might not have been as much of a story that maybe Ryan Reynolds wanted to tell. I know they mention at the end of Deadpool 1 that they're going to bring in Cable during the stinger, but like maybe it probably wasn't something Reynolds thought of. Like even though I'm sure his producer or something on these has some sort of more credit than just actor, that like he would have say in it, and maybe he just was like, do what you want until we can get Wolverine. Because like I think they were on Hot Ones, or there was an interview recently where like Hugh Jackman was like, I retired from Logan or announced my retirement right before Deadpool came out, and I saw Deadpool, and Ryan asked me, what do I have to do to get you in a suit? And he was like, I just retired, but I'm all for it. And it just took him that long. And I think that's what maybe part of what happened as well was Ryan Reynolds he wasn't in it. He wanted the Wolverine aspect.
So I will say that Cable is a major part of Deadpool comics.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, like Deadpool's first appearance is in a comic with Cable. It's New Mutants 98. So like, and there have been a bunch of Deadpool and Cable books, and they have a long history together. Which I think is why that is the movie they did for this one.
Mm-hmm.
But Deadpool 2 was also like, it was a different director and writer, if I remember correctly.
I don't remember yet.
So like, I want to say Ryan Reynolds actually was involved in the writing a little bit of 2, or of 1. I mean, I'm trying to actually like confirm that. So okay, so he has Ryan Reynolds has a writing credit on just the second one, actually. So it's the same 2 guys wrote the first one and the second one. Reynolds has a writing credit on the second one too, but it's different directors.
Okay.
And like directors can like make or break a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this one like it went for a lot of the slapsticky jokes, and missed out on some of like the heart that the first one had.
Yeah.
And while the new one is doing well, I have seen like some like headlines where like IGN, I think it was, fucking hated this movie.
I'm not surprised.
Like they're just like it ruined it's garbage.
Mhm.
If it wasn't IGN, it was GameSpot. Like somebody went into this fucking thinking way too hard about it.
Yeah.
And like one of the things they said was like they left the compelling story for a lot of cameos.
Mhm.
And like from what I keep seeing, like apparently there are a ton of cameos.
Yeah, that's what I've seen and heard. Is there's a ton of cameos. I was supposed to see it this weekend, but my buddy who I was supposed to see it with forgot, even though we made plans like 3 weeks ago, and his girlfriend had already made plans for them. So we couldn't go see it. So I'm going to try to see if we can go see it on Saturday.
Yeah, and this is a big if we finish Loki, because apparently Loki, like enough time variance stuff happens in Loki that you want to see Deadpool Wolverine, or you want to see that before Deadpool Wolverine.
So I don't know how much, but as long as you know about the time variance, you're good to go see Deadpool Wolverine, from what I can tell.
Maybe. But yeah, if we get through Loki, which it's only 6 episodes and we're already down 2.
Yeah.
I might try and see it over the weekend, because like I think Sarah and Erica are actually getting together on Saturday to make bracelets or something. Maybe. I don't know if they confirm that.
I don't either.
Yeah. That the last I heard was maybe Saturday. But who fucking knows?
Mm-hmm.
If they do that, I might just go like catch this in like the afternoon or something, just to kind of see it.
Mm-hmm.
But if not, like it's also not a movie that I want to see it, but like I don't need to go see it in the theaters. I'm happy to wait for it to come to a streaming platform and pay significantly less money.
Yeah.
So,
But yeah, Deadpool 2 was all right. It's definitely not one of my favorites. I would put it, oh boy, I'm trying to think of all the movies. It's better than X2. It's better than Wolverine Origins. What else was there? Probably better than the Wolverine,
really?
which I think are my bottom 3.
No.
What are my bottom 3?
Last Stand, Origins, and X2.
Oh, I forgot about Last Stand.
So
and
your order right now. Logan is
Mhm.
number 1.
Yeah.
Deadpool is number 2 with a star, because
It's
yeah.
just so different. But like even with Deadpool 2 leans more on the old style than it does Deadpool 1. I feel like.
So that's your number 2, and then you have Days of Future Past,
Mm-hmm.
the original X-Men movie,
Yeah.
and then First Class, and
Okay.
then the Wolverine, and then Apocalypse, Last Stand, Origins, and X2.
I would probably put this equal with Apocalypse.
So would you like it to be, because that's not how lists work, would you like it above or below Apocalypse?
It's tied. So if we got Apocalypse and Deadpool at what 6, then 8 is the one after that, or whatever. I don't know how many numbers there are right now.
All right, it's good. I'm putting it between the Wolverine and Apocalypse.
Yeah, that's probably fine.
I think there were at least enough laughs in Deadpool 2 to outweigh some of the just wasted time that Apocalypse had.
That's probably fine. Yeah, it's just
Well-
mid tier. It's mid tier.
Yeah. And actually that does put it pretty centered, depending on where you land with Dark Phoenix and New Mutants.
Yeah.
Like if those 2 movies end up at below Deadpool 2 would be like dead center.
I have a feeling it's going to be bottom and top. Like I have a feeling Dark Phoenix is going to be bottom, and I have a feeling that New Mutants is probably going to be mid to top.
I could see it being mid, but I think it might be mid below Deadpool 2.
Mhm.
Because I didn't think it was a bad movie, but I don't think they knew what they wanted to do. And
Yeah.
because it's so disconnected from everything, it really fucking suffers.
Mhm.
But like it was one of those movies where it's like, this could have been such a good movie.
Yeah.
And they just didn't put any, like the person who made it and the actors put effort in, but like the studio put no fucking effort into it.
Yeah.
But yeah, cool. So
Drew, go ahead.
Drew, how is college football? Not NCAA.
Yeah, I forgot it's not NCAA, but it's been pretty interesting. Me and a friend have been playing the online dynasty mode, where you create a coach and take a school and you become the head coach and are you have to go out and do the recruiting. You can play the games if you want. You can sim them. There's a coach mode where you would call the plays and then just watch the AI run the plays. We've been combination of playing and simming games, but we've just finished the games for the first season, so about to go into the second off season. You start in the off season doing recruiting, then we're playing your games and recruiting players throughout the year, and then we're going to go into the next recruiting. All our seniors will graduate and such, and it's been pretty good. It's been fun getting back into a football game for the first time in like 10 years probably. My one complaint in the dynasty mode, although I did just find a slight thing that made it better, but the recruiting, you can't quickly jump from like the recruits to your roster, and trying to remember what players you all already have and what year they're going to graduate and that kind of stuff makes it a little difficult to want to focus on who you want to recruit, because other schools are also going to be trying to recruit a lot of these players, and some players just won't want to come to your school for whatever reason, like it's too far away or your school doesn't win championships, so that you're not going to be pro material as easily. But then not being able to necessarily remember what you need, like you can have it sort by team needs, but you might really need some things over others, and it doesn't do a good job of sorting it that way. So I actually just went and bought graph paper so I can go write down the overalls and the graduation year of every player I have on my team, so I can then just look at one thing real quick and know, okay, I should focus here.
Fucking nerd.
Yeah.
Graph paper to play a video game? What the hell?
Like I did find there's a button that shows you like your positional group grade and how many you have there, and a little bit of like who's graduating when, but sometimes you might have a senior who's a lower grade than a freshman anyway, so your freshman, like you don't necessarily care that your fifth offensive lineman is graduating, so maybe you don't really need to recruit that even though you have one person leaving. So being able to go in this and be like, okay, here's my overalls, this is when they graduate, okay, I need linebackers next year, really focus hard on linebackers or whatever.
Interesting.
It's kind of lame that the Dynasty is not cross-platform.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Because like Madden has cross-platform connected franchise mode, and that's all this is. So it's like, why does college football not have cross-play for this? Because we probably could have gotten a handful of more people to get in on it, but
because all college football players only have Xboxes.
Could be, but yeah. Otherwise, it's been fun. I'm Temple. My friend is Liberty University. We both picked schools that were either 1 or 2 star ratings to start. And he went 12-0 and is in the college football playoffs. I went 8-5 and then won my conference and won my bowl game. So that'll bump up my school prestige a little bit, but not doing as well as he did.
You gotta just get good. Get good.
I do.
Get good players.
I got to get good players. I was getting better at the game as the season went on. There were a few games early I completely fucked myself by like missing field goals or making bad decisions. Really missing. There was a game I missed 2 field goals that I would have won if I just even made one of them. But so I could have had a better record and been in contention for the playoffs. But it was okay. It's my first year as a shit school. So
Nice.
Yeah. How long was there not one of these again?
11 years. 2014 was the last one. Or
Wow.
NCAA football 14. So yeah, that would have been in 2013.
I don't know. For some reason, it both feels longer and not as long.
Yeah.
Like if you would have asked me, I would have said, I don't know, like 5 or 6 years ago, maybe like 2009. But yeah, why did they stop doing them? Was it just a licensing thing?
Yeah, they got to the point where it was like, oh, they had clearly the players that were in the game were players at the schools, but they weren't paying the kids any money to essentially use their likeness. But now with the whole NIL and being able to, they are able to go actually pay all the kids like I forget what the number. I saw it out there. I want to say it was like $500. Might be more than that. Also, might vary. But they're actually able to give all the kids money and use their names.
I hope it's more than $500 to use their likeness in this game.
I like I said, I think I saw that number somewhere. Could also totally be wrong.
But anything else you want to say about college
yeah.
football? I almost called it NCAA.
So, yeah, a total of 11,390 college football players from 134 schools were eligible to receive these $600 from EA.
And a deluxe version of the game for allowing their NIL.
Oh, okay. So there we go. It was $500 and the $100 version of the game.
No, $600 and the deluxe version.
Oh, okay, okay.
What I pulled. So $700. $700 for their, like, they don't get residuals. They don't get like a penny per game sold or anything. No, come on. Like, I get it. $600 is going to go a long way for a college sports student or for a college student in general. But like, I mean, somebody's going to get $600 a year for the next 4 years. And all they're doing is putting their likeness in it, but that's still, it's their likeness. It's their bot. It's them. They should get more. They should get residuals. I don't know, man. I don't know how I feel about that. I feel like it should be more.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I wonder what, like, NHL and NBA and NFL players get for being in the games. I actually think they don't get anything, now that I'm thinking about it. I think that's just part of their, being in the union. Like, so, well, it's essentially part of your just contract as it is.
According to themarket.com, August of last year, NFL, according to the NFLPA, players do not receive direct compensation. But, like, there's a difference between NFL and college.
Oh, 100%.
And it's like the NFL players they're already making millions of dollars a game and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
That like they are household names, whereas like a college football player isn't necessarily a household name, and they it's already just a whole big deal with that's why they didn't make this game, like you said, for 10 years plus, was because they weren't there was this whole lawsuit about whether or not college students should get paid for playing football.
I remember
they
that.
Should. Yeah, and luckily they finally started or at least they don't get paid to play football, but they're now allowed to have sponsorship deals and things like that.
Yeah.
They are allowed to get paid for being a football player for their college. Whereas before they weren't allowed to get paid for being a football player at all.
Yeah, like I don't think the schools can pay them, but they get sponsorships.
Yeah, but I think the schools technically pay them by giving them like scholarships and things like that to continue.
Yeah.
So, but you know what? Like, not every player has like a full ride scholarship either.
Yeah.
So it's like, and like, good for them. Like, being able to make money for like a thing like that. Like, it's not like the school's not making tons of fucking money.
And that was the point too. It was like the schools and even like a lot of the sponsors of the schools, like I think even Nike was making money off of college football and things like that as well. And these kids are putting their bodies on the line because football specifically, but all sports, but football specifically is a very physical sport that you can really get hurt in playing.
Mm-hmm.
That like you're putting your body on the line at the age of 18, 19, 20 years old and you're not getting anything out of it. And you could potentially have a deadly disease from getting concussed too many times. Like,
or just like break your neck, or
break your neck, be paralyzed, things like that. That like they deserved compensation. Even look, I don't want them to get paid like a NFL player, but they deserved to get paid or to be able to get paid and to be able to pull sponsorship deals. Especially, I don't want to say especially the ones that are going to move up in the world, but kind of especially ones that are going to keep playing football as their career.
Yeah.
Yep.
But would you guys like to move on to the next thing?
Yeah.
Sure.
Since somebody played too many games this week?
Look, I actually wanted to play one of these last week, but I ended up canceling my stream because my ankle was killing me.
Well, what are you starting with? Star Ocean or Nintendo?
Nintendo, because I played 45 minutes of this game. It's exactly what I thought it was going to be.
It's just time trials of old games, right?
And I hate it. I hate it so much. So you load up, and it asks you to make your characters your player profile. And once you load up and making your player profile, you have like I think you have like I don't even know, maybe 500 coins, but there's one stage you can do right from the beginning, and they're trying to teach you the game. And alls it is it's the very first level of Super Mario Bros. And it's to get the mushroom the fastest. That's it. Get that first mushroom as fast as possible.
Oh, that's stupid. That's not even fun.
So you have to hit the block to get the mushroom, jump over the Goomba, and get the mushroom as fast as possible. Once you do that, it gives you a score. You got it in so fast. At an A ranking or higher, you get a pin for completing it at an A ranking or higher. Other than that, you just get points for completing it. Each time you complete it, you get like 1 or 2 coins. And then when you get A ranking, or you like your first time completing it, you get like 10 or whatever. I don't really know. I wasn't paying too much attention. One of the things that drives me nuts the most, and it's cool that they do this, but it's also a pain in the ass. Your screen is split into 2 screens. Your active screen and your best time screen. So you're playing your active screen trying to beat your best time, and you're going side by side with your best time. It's not like they do a ghost character in most games when they have a time trial where the ghost character's right behind you. No, it's just playing flat out your previous best match. So your screen is already shrunk down to 2 small boxes, which is then the whole background is the whole Nintendo World Championship background that they have set up, and it looks bad. Like, it's not very appealing to the eyes. Like, if you guys want to really understand what I'm saying, you can go check my YouTube live or Twitch stream from yesterday. It's the first 45 minutes I played the game. And like, you load up into the time trial, and it'll tell you, like, it'll give you a show of how to get the fastest run. Like, here's the fastest method to do this based on, I don't know, somebody. And it'll give you like that demo, and then you go do it. Some of them are real simple. Like I said, the first one was for Super Mario Bros. Is get the mushroom the fastest, or get the sword the fastest in Legend of Zelda, or get the ball the fastest in Metroid. I think it was the ball, whatever is behind you in Metroid. And then you go further into it, and it's like, oh, this one is get the bombs the fastest in Metroid, where it starts you at a point. It's not like in the game. It's not from where you start to a certain point in the game. It's at a certain spot in the game. It loads you up where you have to use the missiles to hit the door 4 times to go into the room to get the bombs. So it's like 10 seconds at the longest, but it's like sub 5 seconds sometimes. And you just do it real quick, and if you get it, you get it. Some of the challenges are, like, one of the challenges, and Cobb, you'd like this one. It's basically beat Super Mario Bros. 1 by you have to use the 2 to 4, 4 to 8 warp pipes. You have to use those warp pipes.
If you don't, does it like kill the game or something?
If you don't, it resets you to be able to use those warp pipes, and your timer keeps counting up.
So, like, if you accidentally go down like the World 3 one, it just brings you back to like
it would just bring you back
3.
it would bring you back to the set of 3 pipes. I think. I don't really know. I only am assuming this because one of the challenges I had was to beat level 1-1 in Super Mario Bros. And I went down the first pipe that you can go down, and it brings me back up the pipe and says you can't go that way. I'm like, bullshit. That's the fastest way to beat 1-1 in Mario Bros. What the fuck do you mean I can't go that way?
Right.
Well, that's also not World 1-1. That's 1-2.
No. 1-1 is going down the pipe to get down the secret pipe to get to the end of the level to then climb the stairs to get to the end of the level.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we were talking about those 3 pipes at the end of 1-2.
No. No, I'm talking about one of the challenges in 1-1 is to beat 1-1, but you can't go down the warp pipe.
So it's actually just pure speed, not...
It's speed, but even if you could go down the warp pipe, it's still speed because there's still timing and button presses and things like that.
But that does skip a whole... That warp pipe takes you to the end of the level. Like, it is... It's kind of like... It's kind of like in Mario 64 of racing the penguin down the slide. If he sees you take the shortcut, you don't win.
Yeah, but that's... I mean, the shortcut isn't built in. I guess maybe as well, but I mean that's like a different thing though. Like you're talking. This is a game about speedruns. And you're not letting me do a speedrun in a speedrun.
I mean, speedruns have fucking rules.
And this is not, there's no glitch for this. This is just part of the game.
But speedruns don't have to have glitches. I'm just saying speedruns have like established rules for it to be a valid speedrun.
Yeah, but there's no speedrun that's going to say you can't beat 1-1 without using a warp pipe.
You'd be surprised the weird fucking extended categories they fucking have for that game.
But see, that's the thing. Like, to me, a speedrun for Super Mario Bros., the original, would be go from 1-1 to 8-3 and beat the game as fast as possible. That's a speedrun. Anything else is just, it's not a speedrun.
But like,
well, I mean, there's like 100% speedruns, or I guess like all levels speedrun. But yes, like the general beat Mario fast as you can is use the warps.
Yeah. But even with like an all-level speedrun in Super Mario's, you can still use the warp pipe to get from the beginning of 1-1 to the end of 1-1. Because that's not skipping the level. You're still in 1-1.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there is one category where it's no pipes at all.
I'm sure there's some.
Yeah, I'm sure. You can only use the pipes that you have to use to get through the game, but like, still.
I'm actually kind of curious if it is actually faster to use the pipe or not.
It is. I'm sure it is.
So
I don't know my timing for the run. Is it like 30-something seconds?
So you know what? It might not be just because of the seconds you lose going up and down the pipe. Like it might be a wash. Like it might be one of those things where like the people that are really fucking good at Mario 1 might actually get from the beginning to the end of the level faster just going straight through it.
Mm-hmm.
Just because those people are fucking ridiculous at that game.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
But Rich, this was not a game for you in any way, shape, or form.
I 100% knew that this wasn't going to be my kind of game. I 100% knew that I wasn't going to like it. I bought it for the collectible. Like, and to me, it was worth it because like the little NES cartridge that like the replica NES cartridge that it comes with is really freaking cool looking. The pins are cool. The postcards are really cool. Like, I'll pull this game out if I had people over and whatever. And it's like, hey, you guys want to do some time trials? Let's do them. We can like try some, but like you have to pay coins to open up each time trial. It's not like they're all opened. And so you have to actually do each time trial and complete it to unlock the next one. Because like the first 5 in each row are 10 coins, and then it's 50 coins for the next few, and then maybe 100 coins for the next few after that. Which I think is dumb.
That is actually kind of dumb.
And like, then they have a survival mode, which I didn't even do, which is just play a head-to-head against one other person, I think. And then they had like the world tournaments mode where you gives you 5 challenges that are in the game. You do them as fast as possible, and it'll put you up on the leaderboards with wherever you are at the end of the week. And it's a weekly update for each week. You do the 5 challenges. The last challenge, I think the last challenge that was this week's was the use the 2-4 or the 4-2-8 warp pipes or whatever, 2-4-8 warp pipes. But yeah, and then there's multiplayer mode where it's multi-screen. You can get up to 8 players on a single screen to just do these time trials all together. Which that's cool. If you have a bunch of people over and you all want to just try these and see who can get it done faster, great, do it. But yeah, I knew 100% this game wasn't going to be for me. I feel like, and Cobb, if you want to borrow it, I'll let you borrow it and you can give it a shot. I feel like you'd like it a little bit.
I don't know. I feel like the weird stipulations on like things you can and can't do would just kind of annoy me also. Like not like you can't use the warp pipe, but you can't just play games. You have to unlock them with coins.
Yeah. Like
I don't necessarily want to do the same level over and over and over again.
Yeah.
To get the coins. Like that's not fun to me either.
And I don't know how many coins you need in total to get everything and how many coins you get. But like it starts you, I believe you have every first level unlocked with every game category. And then some game categories is only like 4 or 5 and some other categories is like 10 or 15. Like it's really dependent on each category. But
it's funny. That is definitely like that. You playing that game is kind of like me playing like the survival games that you're into.
Yeah.
Like it would just, it's one of those, this game is not for me going in, but I'm giving it a shot just to give it a shot.
I only played it just because I bought the game because I played it because I have it. It's
Yeah,
all
exactly.
that's it. Like, and look, when our next game night, because I didn't have this when we did our last game night. Our next game night, I'll bring it over to let you check it out, and if you have time, you can even play it a bit before we start it. But yeah, it's I only played it because I didn't want to be a poser and say and buy everything else and not play it. But I also played Star Ocean Second Story R, which is the remake of Star Ocean Second Story, which is the second game in the Star Ocean series, hence Second Story. But I think it's actually the first game in the timeline. I don't remember. Like Star Ocean actually has a timeline. It's not like Final
Oh, I
Fantasy
didn't know
where
that.
yeah, there's an actual timeline to the Star Ocean series. So far I'm enjoying it. I like it's funny. Like I don't know how much you guys have looked into this, but it is the original sprites, original character sprites in a completely 3D world.
Neat.
Yeah, so like they completely updated the entire overworld and battle world, but the characters themselves are 2D sprite. From what I've been told, they have enhanced certain features of the game. So like there were different things that you would level up that you would need to buy books for. That's not in this anymore, but they replaced it with a guild system where it's just doing different challenges and objectives, like different side quests, basically. And there's a whole challenge menu you can do where defeat X amount of enemies, do this, do that, and basically just playing the game clears some of these challenges. And it gives you rewards, it gives you money and things like that, and experience. The combat system is fun. It's like an action combat system, action RPG, where it opens you up to a battle world. You run up to the enemy, you attack them with your different abilities. My biggest complaint is there's not enough customization for character AI. So the first three characters you unlock, you have one melee user and three magic users, and two magic users, not three magic. One melee, two magic. And so if you turn off allowing them to use magic, they won't attack. They'll just run away. So you kind of need to like let them use magic, but some of the spells cost a lot of MP, and they're running out of MP within 3 fights. I'm also fighting everything I come across. So like that's kind of a me issue. And even now I have like certain abilities set up to where I see and encounter more enemies because the battle system is quick. I haven't gone into a fight that's lasted more than 10 seconds, which is nice. You go in, you fight, you get your experience, and you go. And you can like link fights together, so you can link up to 5 fights together, and the more fights you have linked together, the more experience and rewards you get for linking those fights. The story is, I'm only like 3-4 hours in, so I don't really know too much of the story, but it's in Star Ocean games, you pick one of two characters, and generally it's the local and the spaceman or woman. I chose, and when I played Divine Force, I chose the local. So this time I chose the spaceman, who happened to find their way onto the current planet that you're on by accident, which is an underdeveloped planet. So they are trying to find their way off the planet and a way to get in contact with their people without the planet knowing that they are from space.
Okay.
Yeah. So but like at one point he used you have to, the first fight you get into, you have to use your laser phaser gun, whatever. And the girl thought you were the hero of light because you used a sword of light because he shot a laser out of his hand. And so now you're investigating a meteorite that hit because maybe that will help you because it is obviously from outer space because it's a meteorite. And maybe that'll help you find ways to get in contact with you're basically working for like the space army or the space, I don't remember what it's called, but like your dad is a commander in the space air force basically, or the United Federal Defense Services. But yeah, it's cool. It looks good. I had a lot of fun playing it. I played it for a few hours on Sunday. It's going to be my my next RPG on stream because I had a request to play it, and I enjoyed it. I liked it. You would probably like it a lot, Kyle. I think you would like it.
I've always heard good things about the Star Ocean games, but just they weren't a series that I ever got into, so I've never like
Yeah.
checked them out.
This one is everyone's favorite. That's why they remade it. Like, I don't recall if they have plans to I think they might actually have plans to remake Star Ocean 1 and 3. I think I remember seeing something about that, because I think we actually talked about it. Or no, there was something else that they remade the second of. Was it Dragon Quest? They remade the second game, and then they're doing the first and third, or they remade the third, and then they're doing first and second.
They're doing stuff with the Dragon Quest. Yes.
Yeah, it was Dragon Quest. So like they're remaking the third, and then the first and second is coming after, because that's also like that's how the timeline is. It's 1, 2, 3, but it's 3, 1, 2 or something like that. In the timeline wise, but yeah, like I don't know if they're planning on remaking any of the other Star Oceans, but from what I'm hearing from people who have played a lot, if not all, their Star Oceans, this is their favorite game. And they incorporated a lot of cool things. Like there's one instance, and I don't know if this is like this cave that I went to is completely new, or if it's something that they had in the game that they got you something else. But by going into this cave and unlocking this item, I can now summon Letitia, who was from Divine Force, to come and fight with me as like a summon. So it's going to let you summon characters from previous Star Ocean games. So I was happy to see that it was like a character I knew. When it was like, oh, you can summon characters from previous Star Ocean games. Letitia's like, oh, I know her. I played as her. But yeah, it's got a neat art style too. It's really cool. It's really fun. So yeah, and those are the two big games I'm playing at the moment, or the one big game and the other. I'm not ever going to play it again. Game that I've been playing.
That is fair.
Yeah.
And like you said, who knows? Like maybe you do try out some of the other Nintendo Championship stuff, like if you have people over or whatnot.
Yeah, if I have people over, if I have time to kill on a stream, or if I'm not doing anything and just want to like grab it and try it out, maybe I will. But like I have the physical copy of the game, which means I have to actually physically change the cartridge to play it. So it's less likely for me to grab it and play it than anything else.
So real quick before we wrap up, I totally forgot I had notes for Toxic Avenger.
Oh jeez.
I only have 3. And I'm not actually sure what my first one is.
I want to know what your first one says, so maybe we can figure it out.
It just says the word toxic.
Probably because everyone in the movie is toxic.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't... Honestly, maybe this wasn't a note. Maybe that was just the heading for it, so I knew that these following things were about the Toxic Avenger.
Maybe.
I don't remember. But my first one is when the cop just randomly lights on fire by touching him.
Yeah.
And then his hands melt.
Yeah.
Like, and then the other one was, why did the taco place have katanas on the wall?
I missed that.
Yeah.
So the big fight in the fast food place when the dog gets shot and he gets the blind girl.
Yeah.
That's a taco joint.
Yeah,
It's
I know that.
Really
I knew
called the taco place. And the one guy he's fighting, after he pulls out his nunchucks, he then runs over and grabs a samurai sword like a katana off the wall to then attack him with a katana. And at the beginning of that scene, they do zoom in on the katanas and then pull back to show you that it's a fucking taco joint.
Wild.
And I'm just like, what a weird fucking decorative choice for this. Like, why not? What?
They needed to have a reason for somebody to have a taco, or for somebody to have a knife or a sword. So they were just like, the taco place has swords. Then
yeah, it was. I don't know. I just want to bring those up because I'm just like, man, they did not care.
Yeah.
But that is probably a show.
Yeah, I think so.
Yep.
All right. So if you would like to find more of our content, you can head over to www.one-quest.com. You can also help us out by supporting us at patreon.com/onequest. If you can't support us there with your dollars, though, you can go to your favorite podcast platforms, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify. Rate us, review us, subscribe to us. All of it helps. You can also find us on social media, facebook.com/onequestonline or at @one_quest on Instagram and Twitter. Our YouTube channel is youtube.com/onequestvideo. And you can always send us an email to social1-quest.com. And Rich, what does your streaming look like?
Twitch.tv/B_walnuts for video game streaming Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. I just glitched out for a second, forgot everything I was saying.
It happens.
Where I video game stream Variety stream playing a bunch of different games. Star Ocean Second Story R, the new season of Sea of Thieves. Those are really the two main big things I'm playing right now. Maybe some Chained Together in the near future. Stuff like that. So come check it out.
Nice. And with that, we will be back next week with something else to talk about. Thanks for listening. Bye.
See you.
Bye.